Hi, today we're going to play another game by Random Studios. This one is The Summoning, which I guess is you performing paranormal rituals, which will, I guess, be fun since I have talked about paranormal rituals on this channel, but I haven't performed any because I am erring on the side of caution, and I feel more safe doing it in this game, even though it's still probably going to freak me out, and I'm still going to think positively that nothing negative will happen, and just going using that mindset. So, yeah, let's get into it. You've taken it upon yourself to indulge your curiosity by plunging headfirst into this game, otherwise known as The Summoning. Except this isn't a game. I need you to listen and read very carefully, as I'll only get this one opportunity to explain things for what they are, and you'll only get this one chance to comprehend it before continuing onward into something you may not be entirely prepared for. Before continuing on, you will need a few things. These items are absolutely imperative to your tasks presented during this session. If you do not have these things, you're wasting your time entirely. It is highly recommended that you play this game with headphones to get the full experience. If you do not have headphones, you may opt to continue anyway, but you absolutely, positively should have your volume at a suitable level, whether you like it or not. Fine, I'll turn it up. You will need a mirror or access to a mirror, such as in the bathroom, a piece of paper, a writing utensil such as a pen, pencil, marker, or anything else suitable for writing, access to a dark room with absolutely no lights, and most importantly, you need yourself. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I will go grab a piece of paper, a writing utensil, and see, I think that I can get a pocket mirror. That way I can just have it in this room because I don't really want to go record this in the bathroom. And this room will work for the no lights. So I'll see you in a sec. Alright, so I was able to get my handy dandy little binder with paper. So we have plenty of paper. Loosely stuff in there. And I would love to use this pen. I don't know how well it'll work, but it's got a skull and I thought that was appropriate. If it doesn't work, I have a backup pen, and pens don't like me. And then I also have two different compact mirrors. They're pretty small. Both were dirty. I had to clean them, but we'll see which one works better. Yeah, and then it said a room with no lights, which this room has a window, but close the blinds. There'll still be some light, so I don't know, depending on this, I might go into the laundry room. We'll see. Alright, now let's be real here. You also need an open mind. You may be one of those skeptics that like to mock things like this, or perhaps you're just insecure with your deeply ingrained personal fears, so you're putting on a macho act. However, money was spent on this experience, and if you fuck this up, you won't get your money's worth, so it's your choice. Well, I don't want to be, haunted by some paranormal entity that I've summoned, so screw you. With that being said, this isn't something to be taken lightly for more reasons than it just simply not working. Not working in this case isn't just nothing happening. It could also mean very bad things happening. Just listen. Have you ever thought about contacting beings from another realm? Things that were here long before we were. Things that walked among us. People we once knew that are now gone. Perhaps things that never walked this earth in human form at any given point in time. What you are about to do is not for the weak of mind or faint of heart. You may think this is complete and utter bullshit. You may think even if this is real, you've got no spirits or entities looming around your residence anyways. Therefore, you've got nothing to come in contact with, even if this is in fact real. And I'm going to pause for a second and let you know that normally I would not actually play this game. Just for the fact that I am paranoid about things happening. But I got this in their bundle, so I ended up spending less money getting this game and the sequel, and so I was like, I might as well play it, and I figured you guys might enjoy watching me play it. So, well, let me tell you something. This is very much, in fact, real. But things are only real when you let them be real. That's at least what I'm hoping. And you do have entities lurking around you, whether you've noticed them or not. You see, entities can come along at any point in time for many different reasons that you never think about. For example, do you own something you've not made yourself? A pair of clothes, shoes, a hat, a second-hand item of some sort passed down by a relative, perhaps acquired as a used or pre-owned object from a thrift store. Or maybe you don't live alone. Maybe someone in your house owns something that fits this description. An ornamental plate, a cup, an article of clothing, a used book, a box, anything that was owned by someone that could now today be deceased. Either way, even if none of the I skipped that. None of this fits something. Probably, you can still have people. Okay, do you have neighbors? Well, if they're haunted, so are you. The spirits just haven't been invited improperly to make themselves acquainted. Which I am in an apartment building, so I have 7? Yeah, 7 neighboring families here. Yet. With that being said, what you're about to embark upon is by far the realest experience you will ever get to have in your life if done properly. Now, there are rules, of course. For example, you've got to be alone. If you're not alone, the person with you must participate. If they refuse to participate, they must leave. If you do not follow this instruction, this will not work. Okay, now do they meet in the room with you or in the apartment? Because my sister is here. If you start this process and you do not see it through to the end, this will not work. If you do not follow every instruction clearly and concisely, or do not heed every warning, this will not work. Or worse. This is really making me nervous, to be honest. It is of paramount importance that you follow every instruction exactly as written. This is not to be taken lightly. This is not to be mocked. You only get one shot at this experience. Do not mess it up, or you will not be able to attempt it a second time. Ooh. Before we continue, I'd like to explain that by venturing forth into this experience, you acknowledge that all supernatural damages or otherwise ill effects of any kind is entirely your own liability. So what happens if you just go through this game but don't actually attempt it? Is that messing up the ritual? I kind of want to look at reviews for this game now. Because honestly, I wanted to do this for you guys, but I'm still getting nervous. I didn't think this was going to be as serious. I thought you were only going to do it in-game. I didn't think that they wanted you to get paper and go into a room and actually do steps. I thought it was just going to be you walk forward and write this on a piece of paper, not write this on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? It's realer when you're actually doing it. It's when kind of giving you the instructions on how to do it. And that's not what I thought I was signing up for. Okay, I don't know. Okay. By continuing on, you would acknowledge and waive all liability on my part. I will not be held responsible for anything that does or doesn't happen to you, your belongings, or those around you during your session, or at any point onward once the session has come to a close. Once you start, you may not stop until your session is complete, which could take anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour or more depending on how slowly you go, but you must complete your session no matter what happens. By acknowledging this disclosure, you agree with all terms written thus far. By backing out now, your session will end immediately before it has even begun to accept these terms. Guys, you'll see what it tells me to do, but I'm thinking I'm just going to read through this and not actually attempt doing it, and if somehow that counts as me doing it and messing it up, I'll just take that as better than me messing it up on purpose. So I just feel like that's the smarter move. I've accepted the terms and conditions as well as full self-liability for anything that may occur from this point forward. Just a reminder, you're going to need a few things as previously mentioned. You will need a mirror, a piece of paper, a writing utensil such as a pen, pencil, marker, or anything else suitable for writing, access to a dark room with absolutely no lights, and most importantly, you need yourself. If you are alone, great. If you are with someone, they must, and I repeat, must do everything that's written right alongside you. If this is me speaking aloud, you both recite verses simultaneously in unison. I will write various instructions for you to follow. You will go around this room from place to place, interacting with all objects in the room until everything has been found. This part is crucial. If this does not work, it's because you did it wrong. Whether it was an unintentional misstep or your subconscious's attempt to mess things up for you out of fear of what may come as a result of following the instructions properly, it is 100% your own fault if this doesn't work. The first thing you need to do is have all lights, and I mean all lights, completely turned off. You should have nothing that provides any level of light other than the device you're using to read these instructions right now. The second thing you need is to be alone or with willing participants. Your door must be closed entirely and you must not be interrupted during this session. You need to have the items mentioned formally near you for when they're called upon for use. Okay, so I don't have to have Heather involved then. Okay. A quick warning before we begin, do not, and I repeat, do not light any candles. You may think you're making the atmosphere more spooky. You may have read or seen on television that lighting candles can aid in summoning spirits. Just don't. Not only do you not need candles, but all you're doing is giving them another weapon to potentially use against you. Especially with this experience, do not play with fire. You will regret it. Again, you've only got one chance to embark on this experience. What you get out of it is entirely what you make of it. If you have a closed mind, if you're acting tough in front of your friends, mocking the instructions, or belittling the powers that be, I feel very, very sorry for you. With that being said, this is it. Are you ready to continue? Let's begin or I want out. Okay, let's begin. Very well. You've been warned. You may begin exploring around the room at your convenience. Oh no, okay. I am doing it in the game. Okay. In case my earlier warning was not clear, do not light candles. If you have candles lit, blow them out. Do not fire around you when performing these rituals. Even though you have fire in the game. Okay. If you can't take any more, you can end this session here, but please heed my warning. Once you've already started, you're much better off toughing it out and finishing. Trust me, something is lingering. Maybe you can feel it. Maybe it hasn't made its presence known yet. But you cannot send back what has come through without finishing the session as agreed upon in the pact. Are you positive you wish to end the session? You will have to start the entire process over again if you wish to continue at a later time. Warning, quitting prematurely is not advised. I didn't mean to end it. This is the smartest decision you could have made. The spirits hate cowardice and wasted time. Only the brave will prevail. Candles are often used in many rituals, not excluding demonic. Bear that in mind and continue your exploration. Please read very carefully, as this is of the utmost importance to getting through this experience with your sanity intact. I'm going to give you very clear and concise instructions, and you're going to follow them exactly as they're laid out for you. You are going to need a mirror for this to work. If you do not have a mirror present, you'll need to go to the bathroom or somewhere with a mirror you can reliably use. Once you're standing in front of a mirror, make sure the door is closed and all lights are off. It should be completely dark around you. You are going to close your eyes while facing the mirror and recite this phrase out loud while keeping your eyes shut. No. Go ahead and recite it a few times aloud right now so you don't forget the words before you venture to try it. You mustn't mistake the words or this will not work for you. Yeah, I'm not going to trust myself to not botch those up. Once you've recited the words in the mirror, turn your back to the mirror and then open your eyes. Do not look at the mirror. Trust me, you will not like what you see. Walk back to your seat slowly. Remain calm. Do not turn around. If you hear any whispers or a voice of an old woman, do not respond. Do not answer. Just come back to your device. If you feel like you're being followed, if you hear footsteps behind you, just keep walking until you get back here and shut the door behind you. If your mirror is located in your room, just sit quietly for a moment until the noises subside and continue onwards. I will give you the phrase to speak one more time. Remember it well. Now, are you ready to proceed, or would you like to hear the instructions over again? I'm proud of you. Do not proceed any further past this point until you've completed the task at hand. I wish you the best of luck. If you're at this point, you've probably completed the task. Do not proceed past this message if you've not completed your task, for there's no fixing what you could have set in motion by skipping this trial. Do not press anything until it is complete. Oh man. I'm feeling stuff in my back, but I do that every time I play these games. Whatever. If it is complete, congratulations. If it isn't, I'm sorry. If you heard any noises, write down what they were on a piece of paper. Use the same piece of paper for all rituals presented to you. If you hear no noises, just simply write silence. A tiny bump noise. So I'm going to write bump. Gavin, do so. Alrighty. Many of the notes you'll find hidden around this room are straight for real occult books used in actual rituals from hundreds of years ago to bring forth things to our realm, or stories inspired by those very tales and legends written in such books. Once you've started something, you must finish it. Leaving a gateway open without properly closing it can be extremely detrimental. Upon agreeing to the pact, when we started, something was opened. The only way to close what was opened is to finish what you started. Stay strong in mind and will, and this will be a breeze. Falter, and you will fall. Have you ever looked at a clock at the same time every day? 3 every day, 111 every day, 911 every day. Regardless of the time, it's often the same, but why? When a soul is left on earth after the body has perished, it will try to communicate with the living by subconsciously reminding a person to look at the clock over and over again. This is to let them know the hour of their death. Something is trying to communicate with you at all hours of the day, attempting to squeeze in as much information through your psyche as humanly possible. Because you're their only hope, and I clicked it too soon again. My bad. Dolls have been used for voodoo practices and dark magic since the beginning of magic, which, as we all know, has been around longer than man. If you've ever obtained a doll that did not previously belong to you. Watch it very carefully. You do not know its history. You do not know who might have owned it before you, who might have come in contact with it, what magics might be at work, what spirits might be attached, or who might have died in the factory during its creation. Quickly, I don't have much time to write this. Take the paper you began with, whether it's blank or already written on, and draw an X through any word written on it immediately. If the paper is blank, draw an X over any word as you write it from this point onward. I pray you find this note. You will thank me by the end of this. So does that mean I don't have to cross through anything further? I'm here. That's not very clear. It says put an X through what's on there. If it's a blank, put an X through anything extra you write. So does that mean I put an X or not? I really don't know. Dolls and stuffed animals are a prime target for malicious spirits to use as a conduit into our realm. It's very easy for spirits to attach themselves to any object, but they choose these ones because they're often given plenty of affection and attention from the living. If you've ever placed a doll or an inanimate object in one place, only to come back and find it in a different position, even though you could have sworn you placed it elsewhere, then you might be plain targeted by a malicious spirit. As many people think this is an act of a playful spirit, I assure you there's no such thing. They want to bring as much attention from you to the object as possible, so you continue to look at it, waste time trying to recreate it, just to see if it moves again, but it very rarely ever does it? No, of course not, because then you throw it out. They don't want you to know. A bard writes tales of legend true, a wicked man's deeds and witches' brew. A hero held by morning light, and souls as pitched as the night. A cantor told a ballad sung, a life taken and a bell run. A widow maid, an innocent slayed, ne'er a word spoken from severed tongue. Okay. Please read very carefully, as this is of utmost importance to getting through this experience with your sanity intact. I'm going to give you very clear and concise instructions, and you're going to follow them exactly as they're laid out for you. You are going to need to write some things on a piece of paper for this to work. Use the same piece of paper for every ritual. Once you have the piece of paper ready, draw the symbol shown on the screen as best you can. If you've performed other rituals, make sure you use the same piece of paper, just draw over what you've already written. After you've drawn the symbol, write a word in each corner of the paper. The words you will write are as follows. Yes, no, murdered, evil. Once you've chosen which corners you wish to put each of those words in, draw a circle around each word and crumple the paper up into a ball. Place the ball of crumpled paper in front of you, placing one hand on the paper palm first, and your other hand over the top of the hand you're using to touch the paper. hands are resting over the top of the paper. Close your eyes and recite these words aloud. Okay, so, yeah, I still don't think I'm going to do this. Yeah. I don't need to have them answer questions. That's fine. You may now open your eyes as you recite the words aloud and ask a question to the spirits. You must ask 3 questions total. Not 1, not 2, not 4, 3, and only 3. The questions you ask should reference the spirits in some way, such as asking how they died or something about them that can be answered with a simple word, such as the words presented before you on the paper. Be careful what you ask, as you don't want to offend them. Once you've asked your question, close your eyes and crumple the piece of paper and lay it out before you. Place your fingers along any corner of the paper and open your eyes to uncover the spirit's answer to your question. Repeat this process and draw a line from each answer given to the symbol you've drawn on the paper. If the same answer is given multiple times, draw a separate line to the symbol each time. Now, are you ready to proceed, or would you like to hear the instructions over again? Very well. Not proceed any further past this point until you've completed the task at hand. I wish you the best of luck. If you're at this point, you've probably completed the task. Do not proceed past this message if you've not completed your task, for there's no fixing what you could have set in motion by skipping this trial. Do not press anything until it is complete. If it is complete, congratulations. If it isn't, I'm sorry. Remember to use the same piece of paper for all rituals. This is very important. Okay. Sometimes the dead leave notes for us to find. The soul knows when the soul goes. Whether our minds do or not is another question. If you've ever found a note written by a loved one who's gone away, ask yourself if it was written before or after they're gone. It's far more likely you'll receive a silent phone call nowadays, as most spirits were once people and have learned to adapt as such. Vile witch by the name of Helga von Steen was once the owner of the occult book that much of this information came from. She wore a black veil over her face, as her first and only husband was taken from her, making her a widow. Her husband meant more to her than anything in the world, and she would have given anything to have him back. So it was said that she made a deal with Lucifer himself to offer sacrifices in return for her husband's soul. She would never obtain a physical body for her husband again, but she was able to speak with him using mirrors and rituals, meditating, seeing him in the corridors of her mind when she lay down to rest, and communicating through scribbling on paper using the proper symbols and words. In return for being able to speak with him nightly, she would place evil curses on the houses of those in her village that sent her husband to his death, and when they grew sick, she would drag their bodies to the home in the woods, sacrificing them horrible wickedness and torture. However, when the village was gone, Helga remained. She had to keep up with her end of the bargain, so she needed to find fresh souls to sacrifice to Lucifer. She wrote a book of rituals and spells that spent some time copying it over and over and over again. She ended up posting a place in many towns where people would find it. When she passed on, her debt would still need to be paid, so these rituals were a way to open a gate back to the world of the living to hunt potential victims so that she may appease her debtor. So as the unknowing victims would read and act on these rituals for various reasons, she would begin to haunt them, making her presence known, attempting to communicate with those she would haunt. Until they found a way to break the curse they had inflicted upon themselves by falling for the treacherous tricks of Helga's rituals. That was hard to keep up with. You can feel her coldness in the air, sense her near, and feel her stare. Upon her rotten corpse does bear a symbolic conduit of despair. Once she's here, she doesn't go until she pays the debt she owes. When her gaze upon her face, she'll take you to her secret place. I don't think I'd want to be listening to this music in a small, dark room when I'm being all alone at my house. So there was that kind of creak sound on the game, and then during that I heard noise from my neighbor downstairs. Oh my gosh, I just heard another noise. It can be extremely dangerous to mock or make fun of supernatural entities. If you challenge them, they will respond, not when you want them to, when they choose to. You have to understand that many of them have been around before the dawn of man, so a human lifespan is a blink of an eye for them. They have unending patience, and they have nothing better to do than to sit and wait for the right moment to turn your entire existence upside down. They will wait until you're comfortable while quietly snickering to themselves, watching every move you make, listening to your taunts, listening to the words, hearing your challenges, and waiting for the moment where you're the most vulnerable, most cocky and arrogant, and they will take everything dear to you away forever. If you hear her voice, do not answer. If she cries, do not ask what's wrong. If she laughs, do not run. If she touches you, do not flinch. If she shows herself, do not look. Many people believe that the only way to make sure the dead stay dead is to salt the corpses before burial, as salt is often used to blind a spirit and keep it from coming into our realm. I assure you, salt does nothing. I've tried it. I've tried everything. Salt does not stop them. There is a very specific way things must be done, always. This is so weird, though. I am hearing, more noise than usual. Many known cases of hauntings, especially those of the most malevolent in nature, have been linked to the same symptoms in victims repeatedly, such as a deep level of unexplained depression and anxiety that seems to come from out of nowhere. Be mindful if you feel like something is near or making its presence known to you. If you're suddenly struck with fear, dread, panic, worry, nervousness, and you can't seem to shake it, you may be under supernatural attack. If you want to desperately get out of your house but feel inclined to stay there, but can't explain why if asked, such as if your family or friends want you to go to social gatherings and you'd love to go but feel an incredible amount of social anxiety or stress when you think about going, as if you're bound to your residence, then you may need to take a really good, hard think about what may be going on around you, especially when all other avenues do not seem to be helping. It wants you isolated. It wants you weak and alone. Spirits often attach themselves to very sentimental objects, such as jewelry in many cases. Sometimes they will pick jewelry up and carry it to another location. This is done to either bring attention to the living, annoy the person, frighten them, or sometimes they will just simply not want the person to have jewelry that resembles something close to what they wore during their life. Necklaces, bracelets, and rings are quite often haunted, so many people have died not only when being previous owners of said objects, during the dangerous process of gathering precious metals and gemstones in order to craft the jewelry itself. Tragedy often breeds the most malevolent of spirits, especially when love is involved. Be very wary of those around you. You feel them, you feel their intent, and you feel a sense of warmth clouded by a freezing cold malice. Do not tempt fate with a scorned lover's spirit. Respect them always. They're hurting, and they may want you to hurt as well. Some literature suggests that when a target of supernatural harassment feels short of breath, it's often due to a spirit that died as a result of hanging. They wish for you to know more about them, make their presence known, and teach you. I keep clicking on these too soon. This also applies to those who've died due to head wounds, and their targets getting massive head pressure or pains, according to many books. However, not all spirits just want their presence to be known or just want you to know what happened to them in life. Some of them have truly malicious intent and wish for you to feel their pain for reasons of spite, simply because they're envious that you're still alive and they're not. It's very common for crystal balls, crystals in general, glass, and even mirrors to be used in rituals. Throughout history, stories tell of the deceased being able to communicate through mirrors and glass, and even more, move between them to contact the living and revisit them, oftentimes without their knowledge. If you've ever looked into a mirror and could have sworn you've seen something move, you did. It was an entity trying to pass through the mirror and into your surroundings, or an entity that has already passed through and is currently making its presence known to you. The next time you see something move in a mirror, try blinking rapidly. This will allow your eyes to pick up on any major movements it's attempting to disguise. It may want you to know it's there, but that doesn't mean it wants you to know exactly where it's hiding in your room. I'm not your enemy. I cannot find much time to leave these hidden messages, warnings, and notes around for you. I do not sense their presence near at this very moment, but they will come back. They always come back. I'm sorry to all who have begun this journey. I urge you to complete it. They want you to stop prematurely. They want you to not follow through with your pact, with your agreement. I do not want this for anyone, for those that got themselves into something beyond their imagining. If I did not follow through with their beckoning, they would never let me sleep again. If you've made it this far, you've done well. Keep going. Do not falter now. The rituals are simple. They are tests of your will. But do not cut and run early. Do not skip any parts. Do not think you can escape if you do. They will not come. They're already here. If the woman has made her presence known to you, you already know how bad you can get. Do not censor whatever you do. Do not, and repeat, do not. Please read very carefully, as this is of utmost importance to getting through this experience with your sanity intact. I'm going to give you very clear and concise instructions, and you're going to follow them exactly as they're laid out for you. You're going to lie down. You may choose to lie down on the bed, on the couch, sofa, or the floor if you prefer, but you must be laying down. Once you've completed step 1, you will close your eyes and begin to rub your temples with your fingers very softly. Do not press too hard. This is meant to be relaxing and help you get to step 3. Once you've begun to calm down a little and sink into a feeling of relaxation, you are going to continue to keep your eyes closed and count from 1 to 18 very slowly in your head. If you feel uncomfortable, do not fret. They will not bother you while you're lying down and slipping into a state of relaxation. This is your time to relax before activity begins to pick up around you. Once you've counted from 1 to 18 slowly in your head, you will now count backwards from 18 all the way back down to 1, just as slowly as you had counted upwards. Once you reach 1, you will imagine that you walk down a long corridor. The corridor is well lit, there's a bright white light, and you feel safe in the corridor. You will see a series of doors down the corridor. Take a mental note of what the doors look like. Every minor detail is important. What color are the doors? Are there any items laying around? You may see many doors. You must enter 5 of them. Which 5 are entirely up to you. If you get a bad feeling about a door, use your gut to guide you through. You know yourself best, and some doors may not be safe. You may encounter entities in the rooms you visit. This is normal. However, be mindful of a few that you may meet, as they're not what they seem. Your senses will not lie to you, but the entities may rely on your sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing to judge. You may come across locked doors. The doors are locked. You may find a key in another room. Remember, you are to visit 5 doors, and 5 doors only. Do not visit 6 rooms. Do not leave at 4 or less. As you're progressing through these 5 rooms, explore and search the best you can. You must obtain 1 item from each room, for a total of 5 items by the time you finish searching. These items can be anything of any value, any randomness, as they are not truly random. You may see many things you can take in each room, but your soul will be drawn to the items in which you're supposed to take. Once you've visited 5 rooms and gathered 5 items, you will see a glowing red exit sign appear at the end of the long corridor. If it's glowing any color other than red, do not enter it. If you're colorblind, you'll still be able to tell the difference, as you're not seeing through normal eyes. If the exit sign is not glowing red, instead look for a new exit sign in one of the 5 rooms you've entered previously, but do not under any circumstances enter any new rooms during this session. Once you find the glowing red exit sign, you may open your eyes and come back to whatever device you're using to continue this experience. During your travel down the corridor into various rooms, as previously mentioned, you may encounter entities. If you encounter a woman with a long black veil over her face, do not look at her if she attempts to lift the veil and reveal her face to you. If she speaks to you, ignore her words, do not listen to what she says. If she follows you, do not turn around. If she tries to block you from entering a room, do not touch her or try to get by. Just go in a different direction. If the woman suddenly disappears, stay away from closets, cupboards, as she may suddenly appear and attempt to drag you in. If you meet a man with no eyes, he may offer you an item to take. Do not take it. Do not trust his words. If you come across an old woman in a rocking chair, ask her if you're in danger. If she says yes, take any item from the room and leave immediately. You may revisit any rooms you've previously entered until you've gathered 5 items and decide that it's time to leave. Last but not least, if you find a mirror in any of the rooms, you may gaze at your own risk, but you may not like what you see. You may not encounter any of these scenes I've mentioned in your journey. Regardless, they must be mentioned as a precaution. Would you like to proceed? Would you like to hear all the details again? Very good choice you've made. Do not proceed any further past this point until you've completed the task at hand. I wish you the best of luck. If you're at this point, I'm going to assume you've accidentally proceeded or you've completed the task. Do not proceed past this message if you've not completed your task, for there's no fixing what you could have set in motion by skipping this trial. Do not press anything until it is complete. If it is complete, congratulations, you've managed to complete a trial. Write the items you were able to obtain in the rooms you visited down on a piece of paper. Make sure you spread the names of the items out randomly across the paper. You will use this later. Make sure you use the same piece of paper for all rituals. If the ritual has not been completed, you'll need to complete it to continue. If you haven't completed it, you'll need to reset your session and try again. This is of utmost importance. These trials are mandatory. Trials must not be skipped under any circumstances. Oh, I'm skipping all of them. Would you dare to leave your feet hanging off the bed when you sleep at night? No. Most people wouldn't. It's a very good reason for that. Oftentimes, the most evil of spirits will rise from the floor when a victim is sleeping and grab their feet to wake them from their slumber. Sleep is one of the most important necessities when it comes to keeping sanity. It's incredibly important for the mind, the body, and the soul to recover. If a spirit is aiming to haunt, infest, or even possess a living soul, they target the victim's sleep to disrupt them when they're most vulnerable. This happens more often than one would remember. If you recollect this happening to you even once, it doesn't mean it only happened once. It means there are many more times that you don't remember. The living soul only remembers being woken when the spirit is strong enough to generate enough force to wake their victim, but this generally means that the spirit is already at a level of power that they can begin causing real harm soon enough. They've been trying to wake you for a while, they just weren't strong enough yet. If you ever wake up out of the blue and feel someone's eyes on you, that means the spirit's strength has grown so strong that they don't need to touch you to disturb your slumber. This is an incredibly dangerous circumstance to be in. The worst building stage of them all is being woken out of a sleep by hearing a voice call your name, oftentimes a familiar voice, like a family member or loved one. If this starts happening, it means the spirit is able to beckon your soul directly. It's trying to communicate with your soul to trick you into leaving your body while you sleep so the spirit can enter your body and possess it while you're defenseless, leaving your soul to wander the spirit's realm, lost and alone. This is often confused for sleepwalking, and victims and can result in horrible outcomes. Witches were burned at the stake throughout history, but so were many innocent people who were mistaken to be witches with very little evidence. The spirits of those wronged became malevolent and were far more dangerous than the witches who were burned, as the witches' souls often passed on much quicker to the other side, while the innocent souls sought reverence for the wrongdoings of their peers. Some of them have a message to send, some of them want you to hear it, some of them are around you right now. Listen, but do not speak. You've managed to make it to the end or the beginning. However, I have some good news and some grave news. The good news is, if you've managed to complete all the rituals, you've bought yourself a little bit of more time to escape what you've managed to unknowingly released into your life. The grave news is, if you did not complete the rituals properly and skip through them, you've got much less time to sort it all out than you realize. Either way, there's one way, and one way only, to break the curse Helga has convinced you to bestow onto your livelihood. I use the term break the curse loosely, as the curse can never truly be broken. However, it can be passed on. If you want Helga to leave, you must offer her another person in return. You must find someone else to carry out the same rituals presented here and follow all of the instructions laid out before them, just like you. This was the only way I could get her to stop haunting me. I had to make this. Didn't want to, but I had to protect those around me and protect myself. She wanted me to help her spread her will. It wasn't a choice. I had to do what she commanded, but I thought if I could find a way to lay this out simply, then people like you could just keep passing her on and on and on and stay safe. The problem is, you don't have an infinite amount of time. Time is not on your side at all, actually, and Helga wants to pay her debt. She can be in many places at once. Trust me, she's with you now. Since the very moment you accepted that agreement, the portal was already opened, and she has been watching you the entire time. Maybe you've already seen her, maybe she's appeared in your head, maybe you've heard her voice. She will haunt your dreams, she will not let you sleep, and she will never leave until she gets what she wants. You must find someone to pass her on to, and write their name down on the piece of paper you used for these rituals. Do not tell them anything about this session. Do not tell them what to expect. Just tell them that they must complete what they've started. You can be there with them to help guide them through if you wish, but they must finish it in order for her to leave you alone. Once they've completed the rituals, you must tear up the piece of paper you used with their name written on it and throw it away somewhere that will never be found. It is not safe to leave laying around. You've come very far. I wish you the best of luck getting rid of her now. Pass these rituals on to someone else before she takes you. The names are not responsible for anything that happens. Alright, well, that was the summoning. I'm not hearing noises from my neighbors now. I'm wondering if it was a weird effect in their music that made it sound like it was coming from a different direction. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not feeling the best after that, but I'm also dehydrated. It's very hot out today. I haven't drank anything but coffee and some pop, which isn't the best for hydration. And I also ate some beef, which is a long story, because I am vegetarian minus fish. So I know that that's messing with me. So I don't know if it's just that and the dehydration, or if I am feeling some actual uneasiness from something from that game. But I do believe in being able to protect yourself and having positive vibration and mindset. So I don't think that anything is going to happen to me, especially since I went into this with the mindset that I was not actually participating. So even though in game I agreed to the pact, I internally didn't agree to the pact, so I don't see how I could have opened up any portal. But let me know how things go for you. If you feel called to play this game, and if anything weird does happen, I will definitely keep you informed.